Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome yet again, guys, to yet another episode where today we are going to be discussing such an interesting topic. Now, if you can see from the setup, you can tell that today is quite different, and we are going to be talking about something that is so distinct and something that is exciting. Now, our topic for today says that to become more or to have more, you have to become more, right? To have more, you have to become more. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And right in front of you guys, we have these three beautiful bottles, right? And these three beautiful bottles that we have here and a jug over here, these are going to help us to explain the concept that we have and the concept that I want to bring to you today, guys, that is going to help you in your life and that is going to help you to expand your mind and expand your thinking. Now, guys, let's jump straight into our message for today. Remember, our message says that to have more, you have to become more. Now, this is what we're going to do, guys. Over here, we have a bottle. This bottle is a 500 milliliter bottle. Hey, guys, this bottle is a 500 milliliter bottle, right? And over here, we have a 300 milliliter bottle. And also here, we have a 300 milliliter bottle. And over here, we have a 1.7 liter jug. Now, these three bottles that we have over here, this one is going to represent a person, as well as this one is going to represent a person. And this one as well is going to represent a person. Do you get it, guys? All these three different bottles represent three different people. Are we together? These three different bottles represent three different kinds of people and the three different types of characteristics of people that we find in the world, right? Now, you can either place yourself in bottle number one, bottle number two, or bottle number three, right? These are all going to represent the three different types of people that we have. Now, the jug, on the other hand, this is going to represent the source, right? This is going to represent the source. And in this case, the source is God, right? As you know, guys, on this channel, this is a God-based channel. In everything that we do, we always reference everything to the Bible. So with this one, this is going to represent the source, which is God. Interesting, guys. Now let's jump into our message for today. Now, when we come to bottle number one, we remember we said we have characteristic number one. We have characteristic number one, characteristic number two, and characteristic number three. Now, our topic says that to become more or to have more, you have to become more. Now, here's the thing. The source is limitless. As you can see, guys, the source is limitless, right? But if we look at this container over here or this bottle over here, this bottle can only contain 300 milliliters of substance or liquid or water or whatever things that you put inside of it. It can only contain 300 milliliters, not because that's all there is, but that's all that it can contain. When we move on to also character number two, this one as well can only contain 300 milliliters, not because that's all there is, but that's all it can contain. Now, when we come to bottle number three or characteristic number three, this one, on the other hand, this one can contain 500 milliliters of liquid or substance or water or whatever things that you decide to put inside of it. It can only contain 500 milliliters of it, right? Not because we have exhausted the amount of liquid that is out there, right? No, not because of that, but because the container itself can only contain those 500 milliliters. Despite all the other liquid that is around, it can only contain 500 milliliters. Now, let's go to the source. Now, the source is limitless. The source will never run out. It has enough capacity to fill all these three different types of bottles and still have more because it is the source. The source will never run out. Right? Now, let's just jump straight into our illustration. Now, when I take the sauce and I decide to come over here, I don't know if you can see, guys. We are putting water inside this bottle. Now, as you can see, this bottle has now reached its brim, right? This bottle has now reached its brim, and the brim here is 300 milliliters. Now we cannot keep on pouring further, for it is going to overflow, right? It is going to overflow because now it cannot contain the amount of liquid that is going inside of it, right? Remember, guys, we said this is what? Characteristic number 1. And these are 3 different characteristics of people. Now, these characteristics can think that, oh man, I'm so full. You know, I am so full. There's nothing else that I can learn. You know, I've learned everything that I can possibly learn. Therefore, I don't need to learn anything else. I have reached the maximum and I don't need to learn anything else. But remember, guys, when you look at the sauce still has liquid. The sauce still has water. The sauce only managed to fill this one to 300 milliliters, not because this one can only contain 300 milliliters. Now, this sauce here, or this person right here, might think to themselves, you know what? I am full. I know everything. There's nothing new that I can learn and everything like that. And they can think to themselves in their ignorance, not knowing that the sauce still has plenty more liquid that it can fill the bottle with. But in its ignorance, it will think that I know everything and I don't need to know anything else. Tell me about anything, I know. Whatever topics that you bring to me, I know everything. I'm the know-it-all guy. I know everything. I don't need to be told by anyone. I don't need to be taught anything. I've told myself that I am here and everyone else is at the bottom, right? I've told myself that I am totally here and everyone else is here because I don't need to be taught anything. But the dangers of being this type of person is that you will think that you know it all, not realizing that you have only been filled according to your capacity. Guys, this characteristic over here has only been filled according to his capacity. Now, if we go also to this one and we decide to fill this bottle, now, when it comes to this characteristic, I'm not going to fill it to the brim, right? I'm not going to fill it to the brim because I have a point that I want to make to you guys. Now, when it comes to this characteristic number 2, this one might decide in his knowing that, you know what, I am tired of learning. I think I'm just okay where I am. I don't need to know more. I don't need to go out and search for more information to try to understand how my mind operates, how the laws of the universe works, how God put certain laws and how they're supposed to work in my favor. I think I am just comfortable being where I am. You know, let me just sit in my comfort zone because you know what? I don't need to learn anything else. But guys, I want you to look at this bottle over here. This bottle has not been filled to the brim, right? Not because it does not have the capacity. The bottle has the capacity to get to 300 milliliters, but it has decided to camp over here. Not because it does not have the capacity, but the bottle has decided to camp over here. And this maybe might be the story of our life for some of us, where we have decided to settle for less, not realizing that we actually have the capacity to reach to the brim. Where we have decided to lower our standards when it comes to certain things because we don't realize the value that we have in our lives. So therefore, we just take anything and consume anything because we don't realize the potential and the value that is within us. Therefore, we just settle to be right here, not even getting to the full because we think that we don't deserve to get to the top. And this is a mentality that probably most of us have, guys. And we have decided to camp there. And God is saying, listen, my guy, listen very closely. I didn't create you to come and fill yourself all the way to the halfway point. I didn't create you to come and be filled only to the halfway point. I created you to go all the way up. But if you decide to camp over here, I cannot do anything about it because you have decided to camp over here. Remember, the source still has liquid. The source will never run out of water, but it can only fill you according to your capacity, according to how much you're willing to consume. God can only fill you according to how much you're willing to consume. This one decided that half was enough for him. This guy over here decided that he was going to settle for less. This guy over here decided that he was going to just settle for the half, the bare minimum. In his life, he decided that, you know what, I am just going to be bare minimum in everything that I do. You know, one wise man once said that we are busy taking the less risky decisions to our way to death, on our way to death. You know, we are busy making the less risky decisions, you know, something that is less risky, something that doesn't involve any risk. But we don't realize that, guys, whether you take risky decisions or you don't take risky decisions, we are all going to go to death at the end of the day. So this guy here over here decided that he was going to settle for less. He decided that he was going to just to settle for the half, not realizing that he has the capacity to go all the way up. That is our guest number 2. Now, when we come to guest number 3, this is a guy who decided that, you know what, I have to become more. I see that there's 300 here. I see that there's one who decided that, you know what, I am just going to settle for this one or for this amount or for this half. But I decided that I have to become more. I want to consume more. And remember, guys, the source is limitless. The source can only pour according to how much you're willing to receive. So this guy decided that, no, man, I'm going to open myself to everything. I'm going to open myself to new possibilities, and I am going to make my cup bigger. So this guy therefore becomes a 500 mils. And let's pour into our new guy over here. As you can see, guys, we are pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. And there we go. This guy decided that, you know what? I'm tired of being the 300. Therefore, let me upgrade and become the 500. And now when he decided to become the 500, guess what? The source was still able to fill him up. Now, if he decides to settle on the 500, he is going to remain there for the rest of his life. He won't realize that there's actually a 1 liter, there's a 2 liter, there's a 3 liter, there's a 5 liter, there's a 20 liter. Guys, it all goes according to your capacity to take in. Now, of course, I cannot have a 20 liter over here, but this is the concept I wanted to bring to you guys, right? And I hope you've gotten the message that we had for you today, guys, that God can only pour into your cup according to how much you're willing to take in. If you decide that I am going to be this guy who's going to be full of myself, I don't need to learn anything, you are going to remain on the 300 mark. If you decide that, you know what, the bare minimum is just okay for me, I don't need to learn anything else, I'm okay with just the bare minimum. Listen, even though you have the capacity to get to 300, you will remain on 150 because you decided to camp over there. But also, if you decide to increase your capacity, guys, God is going to be able to fill you according to what you want to be filled with. Remember, guys, the source still has water. The source is limitless. The source will never run out. God will never run out of things, but he goes according to your capacity to take in information. And that is the end of our message for today, guys. That remember, to have more, you have to become more. If you decide to settle for less, you will remain there. If you decide to be full of yourself, you will remain at 300. But if you decide to increase and become more, listen, you get to 500. And when you get to 500 and you decide to increase and even become more, you will get to bigger and bigger and bigger numbers. Now, that is the end of our message for today. And remember, guys, the source is limitless. That's the end of our message for today. May God be with you. And I hope that this message got to you in a very special time. And until we meet again on the next episode, may God be with you and may the Holy Spirit help you to listen to this message and help you understand it. Now, if you do not understand it, watch it again, guys, so that you can be able to understand. They say repetition makes things stick in your mind, right? So make sure that you repeat it as many times as you want so that you can be able to have it in your mind. Now, until we meet again next time, ciao.